welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. Tonight we're doing the second half of the Saturday doubleheader previews. We've already done the Green Bay and Frisco one. That should already be up on the YouTube channel. Go watch that one before kickoffs on Saturday night. We're about an hour or so away from Quad City and Green Bay kicking off here Friday night. So let's get into the Arizona-Vegas game as well. 9:05 p.m. Central Time on Stadium's YouTube channel. Don't go to the Indoor Football League channel. Don't go to the respective teams' YouTube channels if they even have one. Go to Stadium on YouTube. Go to Stadium Sports or Stadium Channel, something like that, and it will pop up. If you've seen the other previews, I say the exact same things. It's a quick little search into YouTube. You should be able to find it. We are live from the Lee's Family Forum in Henderson, Nevada. The number 3 Arizona Rattlers, 11-5, taking on the 11-5 number 2 seeded Vegas Nighthawks. And a difference of conference win percentage here is what kind of separated these two teams. 7-5 for Arizona, 9-4 for Vegas. Now, as always, we take a look at our statistical leaders for both teams. Dalton Snead, Shannon Brooks, and Corey Reed Jr. are your passing, rushing, and receiving leaders for the Rattlers. And then on the defensive side, your leading tacklers, Rashawn Yates, Connor Taylor, and Devontae Merriweather for the defense. For Vegas, Jerome Johnson leading in passing and rushing, and Quentin Randolph leading in receiving. On the defensive side for Vegas, Claude Davis, who just came over from Sioux Falls not too long ago. Gabe McCoy and Bryce Hampton are your leading tacklers on the defensive side. We'll talk more about Gabe McCoy here in a second. We don't know if he's going to be the true linebacker or not, so we'll kind of take a peek. Now, this is normally the portion where we do a player to watch on the offense and defensive sides. Since this is the playoffs, every player is important. So kind of want to take a look at the stats of how the teams did throughout the season and kind of see if there's any pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses that we can kind of see here when it comes to what each team might or might not do in the game. So I know it might be hard to see. I'll speak about where the rankings are and things like that if you can't see it, and kind of give you a taste of what's going on. So the first thing is total offense, where Arizona is 3rd in the league, Vegas is 4th. Both these teams are very good offensively. They move the ball down the field, and they gain a lot of yards. Total defense, though, this is a big change. Arizona, the 6th best defense in the league, which not bad, about middle of the pack, maybe about above average. But for Vegas, in terms of total yards allowed, they are last. They are the worst team when it comes to yards allowed in total defense. Now, take that with a grain of salt. They are 11-5 for a reason. They've won 11 games, and they have the worst defense, which means their offense is putting up points for what it's worth and still winning games. So, again, take that with a grain of salt. When you look at the total defense here, Arizona with 3,500 yards allowed, Vegas with 3,900. It's only a difference of 400 yards between 6th and 16th. It makes a difference, but again, stats, you can say whatever you want with them. Rushing offense, 7th for Arizona, 4th for Vegas. Rushing defense, Vegas 8th, Arizona 15th. So Vegas likes to run the ball, dual threat with Jerome Johnson. We'll talk rosters and stuff. Antonio Wimbush is back, so if they can exploit that running game, Arizona has had trouble with a running quarterback early in the season. I don't know if they fully have solved that yet. So 15th in rushing defense, one of the worst. But again, stats can make you say anything here. It's only a difference of 200 yards between 5th and 8th. Passing offense, 4th for Arizona, 9th for Vegas. So again, better passing offense for Arizona, middle of the road, below average passing offense for Vegas. And again, this is where it gets different. 3rd best passing defense, the 15th best passing defense. So again, one team who likes to run the ball quite a bit against one of the worst rush defenses. One team that likes to throw the ball a little bit in Arizona against one of the worst pass defenses in Vegas. So again, strength versus weakness, strength versus weakness. This should be a fun game. Take a look at third down conversions here. Both teams very, very good at converting third downs. Vegas is 2nd at 50.5, almost 51. And Arizona not too far off, 4th in the league, 48%. So pretty close. They do like to convert on third downs. It means they're getting the ball in situations where they can easily convert. Fourth down, Vegas is number 1, so they are very good, 68%. They don't get in fourth down a lot, but when they do, they convert quite a bit. Arizona, about middle of the pack, 7th in the league at almost 54%. So still over 50%. It's a hit or miss whether or not they're going to get it. Red zone conversions, 3rd for Vegas at almost 87, almost 86 for Arizona. That's good for 5th. Both these teams can convert in the red zone when they get there. Statistics kind of proving it. Penalties. Arizona is the second in the league, which means that they do not get penalized at all. They are, I don't know how too far off they are from being number 1, but they are second when it comes to being the least penalized team. For Vegas, they are 10th, which means they do get penalized a little bit, maybe towards that bottom part where they're getting penalized a little bit too much. So discipline might be a factor when it comes to this, but overall, like I said, it could come down to who runs the ball better, who throws the ball better, and whose defense kind of steps up and makes a stop in that regard. So taking a look at our series, instead of a series history, we're just going to take a look at 2024 since that's what matters for this. Vegas leads 2-0. Their very first matchup, week 2, a walk-off field goal by Kevin Macias to give Vegas the victory. And then week 15, Arizona had to kind of claw back into that one. Couldn't get that onside kick. Vegas ended up winning it by 5. But there we have it. Vegas owns a 2-0 advantage in this series this year. Can they make it 3-0? Vegas, the casinos, like to think so. Nighthawks favored by 4.5 with a locked money line and an over-under of 96. Let's go take a look at the rosters and all of that stuff, bets, predictions, and we'll get out of here. All right, injury report for both sides, starting with Arizona. Season injured reserve list. I think Philosha Russell, I can't remember if he was added this week or last week, but he is put on season injured reserve. Traveris Farrell has been put on just in the last couple of weeks, and then nothing really changes for their short-term injured reserve. They've all been placed, Lowry, Smith, and Huff, within obviously like the last month or the last few weeks in Isaiah Huff's case. For season injured reserve for Vegas, Caleb Hawley is there from when he got injured just a few weeks ago. Roderick Chapman's been there for a good chunk of the season. And then short-term injured reserve, Eric Douglas has been there since the end of May. And then just 3 names added this week, Mikel Calhoun, Justin Collins, and Trayvon Van as of this week. So that's quite a bit of depth. When you look at the Vegas Nighthawks, you're losing your starting linebacker, your starting running back. Now, granted, you do get Antonio Wimbush back. He is off the short-term injured reserve list. And then you add Justin Collins on there, who is supposed to help you out a little bit on the wide receiver side. So, a little bit of injury concern there for Vegas. Not too much, but losing Mikel Calhoun does have a little bit of a factor right there. So let's go take a look at the 25-man rosters, bets, predictions, all of that. All right, 25-man rosters popping up here. Let's take a look at the away side as we always do. On the offensive side, you have your 3 offensive linemen right there. Then you have Ismae Faciane as a defensive lineman, number 78 that you see on the screen. He will probably start on the offensive line. He started there last week, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see if he gets into the game. He starts, whether or not William Lay gets in, I'm not sure. But Faciane, the former Tucson Sugar School, kind of played offensive line and defensive line for them throughout their last couple of seasons. Look for him to kind of start. Skill positions, they signed Catrell Haywood. We'll see if he gets into the game, if he suits up, if he's just kind of a depth piece throughout the playoffs. He did play a couple of games for Arizona in this season, just a couple though, and then he eventually ended up getting released. But kind of tells you, are they worried about their wide receiver depth bringing him in with Miles, Reed, and Jackson, your presumed starters? Shannon Brooks on the wide receiver, or on the running back side, will probably be your presumed starter. Haven't seen anything to say CJ Odom gets in. We'll find out. Those two guys have kind of switched starts, so we'll see. Sneed's your presumed starter on the quarterback. When we go to the defensive side, Yates, Perry, Nimwaya. I figured out how to pronounce it. Thank you, Arizona Broadcast. Nimwaya or Symes will probably be your starters on the defensive line. Connor Taylor was your starter last week. We'll see if he starts again. And then your secondary, Dobbs, Merriweather, Winfrey, and probably Amari Alexander. On the Vegas side, Jerome Johnson, your presumed starter. Antonio Wimbush is your running back. And then they have gotten Reggie Henderson, I believe, off of short-term injured reserve as well with Antonio Wimbush. So that adds a little bit of wide receiver depth for the Nighthawks. Still running with Randolph, Wyndham. We'll see if it's Lawson or Henderson who's that third wide receiver. Offensive line, you're probably running out with Wigan, Toot, and Mallory. Defensive line, you're probably, I mean, they've kind of switched it around a little bit. Sometimes they'll start Lorenzo Hernandez. Sometimes it's Jerry Garner. Claude Davis is, I believe, started. Maurice Jackson has kind of started here and there. So we'll see who they really turn to on that defensive line. So I don't really know if there's a right or wrong answer. Linebacker, Gabe McCoy. He has not played in the last couple of weeks or even suited up or anything like that. So I'm curious to see if they just throw him in there. I'm sure he's been practicing and everything. So we'll see if he gets in there. If not, you might have to have one of those defensive linemen or maybe a defensive back play that linebacker position, seeing how everything turns out. My money, though, is on McCoy coming back in, playing that linebacker role. We just kind of go from there. Amos, Hampton, Caesar, Flowers, Williams, and Hossman round out your secondary. You're probably going to have Caesar, Hampton, Williams, and Flowers as your presumed starters there. Evitz and Macias are your kickers. They've both been pretty fairly good throughout the season for both teams. So there's your rosters, who I think is your presumed starters in that regard. Let's go take a look at our bet, our predictions, and we'll wrap everything up and move on. Best bet, Chew. The Kevin Guy redemption train moves on, plus 4.5. They don't allow you to pick the money line in this one, so this is the best that I can do for the odds that you can have. Now, I also think this game is going to go over just based on the amount of offensive firepower both teams have and the lack of defense that fits the strengths of both offenses. So if you are truly wanting a best bet, I would probably pick the over 96.5 here. The last time these two teams played, it was 55-50. I don't see it being really any different, considering that these guys just played roughly a month ago with roughly the same players. So with that being said, excuse me, that sounded gross. With that being said, I do think the game will go over, but I do like Arizona here. You can probably tell which way I'm going with my prediction, but plus 4.5, I think Arizona has the keys. I think Kevin Guy has an opportunity here to really kind of get back into this and build some momentum. They've won 3 straight going into this one. Can they make it 4? Let's go take a look at our prediction, and we will find out. Of course, they win their 4th straight. 49-48 is my prediction. That's not to say that Vegas can't win this one. I'm not shocked if Vegas does. I think Arizona just has a more complete team, in my opinion. They've won 3 straight. They're going for their 4th straight to try and get hot at the perfect time. And it's just something where Arizona can beat Vegas in Vegas on their way to Vegas for the championship game. It just makes too much sense. The script writers have it perfect. Arizona has the reigning championship game MVP. They've been here before. They have a lot of firepower that has been in the playoffs, whether it's been Jamal Miles, Glenn Gibbons, Connor Taylor. I mean, take your pick, Dylan Winfrey, Merriweather, whatever. That's not to say Vegas doesn't have guys too, like CJ Wyndham or Maurice Jackson or Claude Davis or players like that. But I just think, and again, when it comes to the coaching too, Mike Davis has been in championship games before. I mean, he's no stranger to a situation like this. So when I say that Vegas is not ready for this, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying I think Arizona is just a more complete package. Vegas is really good at the right time as well. I just think I think Arizona is going to do something late in the game, whether it's a turnover or Vegas misses an extra point or something that just gives Arizona just the slightest of edges that allows the Rattlers to advance here. This is just the game to watch for me, at least. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for all of the playoffs, the entire season. I want Quad City to pull an upset. I want Massachusetts and Frisco to be close, and even the 5th matchup between San Diego and Bay Area. I mean, it's amazing. This is the game for me, though. Both teams going up against their weaknesses when it comes to their rushing and passing defenses. Rushing and passing offenses are the strengths for Vegas and Arizona. So it should be a very fun game. It should be a shootout. It should be something reminiscent of the last 2 times these guys met when it was 55-50. I think things just break a little bit more in Arizona's favor this time, so I've got it 49-48. I think Arizona pulls off the upset, if that's what you want to call it, and they advance to the Western Conference Championship. So that's what I got. That's what we got for the rest of the preview. Let's go wrap everything up, and we will move on out of here. And there we have it. That is the preview between Arizona and Vegas. I think this should be the best matchup of the entire first round of the playoffs. It could be the matchup of the playoffs. I mean, honestly, we'll see how obviously the rest of them go. But I am really, really excited for this one. It's a late one, especially if you're on the East Coast or in Central Time. You're talking 9, 10 o'clock. I know it's on a Saturday, but man, it's up past my bedtime. Jeez. But there we have it. That's what we got here. Whether it's the preview, the rosters, the bets, or the predictions, that's what we have between Arizona and Vegas. I hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you do, like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that fun YouTube stuff. If you don't, awesome. Just watch the videos. I like that too. It means I'm doing something right. Or if you're hate watching the videos, that's even better. Hate watch the videos all you want, I guess. But anyway, I'm taking off here, guys. We've got about 45 minutes or so until Green Bay and Quad City kick off. So it's going to give me a chance to edit this really quick, get it out here for you guys to watch, and gives you some time, if you're not watching this after the Quad City Green Bay game, watch it on Saturday before kickoff or things like that. But until then, I'm taking off here, guys. Love and appreciate all you watching this, all the support and everything included. Until then,